Survivors, seekers, and thrivers, welcome to Transcending Trauma, a spiritual odyssey. I'm Shari Lee Roberts, living proof that transformation is real. Get ready for powerful insights, inspiring stories, and a little laughter along the way.
Good afternoon, Tracey. Listeners, we have an incredible treat for you today. For me personally, having a vocal difference, not allowing it to deter me, who also has a vocal difference, yet it is not stopping her, but fueling her to help others. We're going to talk about her history and her new book. Welcome, dear lady. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me. I'm so happy to finally meet you face to face, and I'm really happy to be here today.
Thank you. We are thrilled. Will you tell us about your vocal superpower?
I love that. I'm gonna use that.
Yeah, do.
So I was born with what's called a cleft lip and palate. And a cleft palate in particular causes lifelong issues with your voice. And so what a cleft palate is, it means that I was born with a gap in my roof of my mouth and my cleft lip. I had a gap in my lip. And so a cleft palate in particular makes it hard to speak clearly. For one, it makes my voice sound more nasal because a lot of air escapes from my mouth to my nose when I talk. So under normal circumstances, your palate, which is the roof of your mouth, separates your mouth from your nasal cavity. But because air escapes, it makes it sound nasal. And because so much air escapes, I have a soft voice. And so it's just really hard to project my voice. And a cleft palate also affects your swallowing. So the roof of your mouth, your palate affects swallowing, and swallowing controls how much saliva you have in your mouth. So I tend to have a lot of saliva. So I tend to slur my words. And then a cleft palate also makes it hard to enunciate because the muscles of your palate are just weak. They're not very strong. The back of my tongue, my throat, the roof of my mouth are all very weak, and it's just challenging to pronounce words.
Did you go through speech therapy surgery? Take us through that journey.
Okay. Typically, when you have a cleft palate and cleft lip, you have a surgeries when you are a baby. So I was only a few months old. Within the 6 months, first 6 months of my life, I had surgery to repair them. But oftentimes, because we're babies, even though the palate is repaired, we grow and things shift and move. So even though it could be perfect when you're a baby, as you grow, things expand, it doesn't mean that it's going to stay that way. So I did have speech therapy growing up, a lot of it. And, at the time, I thought it was really pointless. Like, this wasn't helping me. There's no point. I was really kind of had a bad attitude about it. I felt like it was a waste of time. In hindsight, it was helpful. It was probably way more helpful than I realized at the time, but I hated doing it. Looking back, I think I was more embarrassed than I had to do it. And so I wasn't really fully invested in it because I didn't want to be there. I wanted to be a normal kid. And so I did not embrace it. In fact, if I had ever met someone who also had a cleft lip and palate, I didn't want to be around them. I just
Yeah.
wanted to fit in with the normal kids. I carried that throughout childhood, and I was extremely shy and insecure growing up. And kids would make fun of me, mock my voice,
Yep.
and so I really took it to heart, and it became me. I became a victim. I was a victim in my mind. I set myself
Yeah.
up as a victim, and I lived that way for nearly my entire life. Not that I wanted to feel sorry for myself, subconsciously maybe, or kind of felt in this victimhood state.
I get that's often a hard journey, right?
Absolutely.
You have gone on worked beyond it. Are you married or
Nope, not married. I'm single. And yeah, I've been single for a while. Bless my heart.
yeah? We're stepping into our power.
Exactly.
You are doing amazing things.
Thank you. Just a little bit of background. So I started a spiritual journey back in 2018 after my mom passed away. Embarked on a journey of healing and self-discovery. And it was a new journey. I've never been interested in that before. I never even thought about it. And so I started digging into my belief system. So my parents were super supportive. I was definitely closer to my mom than my dad. My dad spent a lot of time away because he had to travel, to work. But so my mom and I were best friends, and we had always been super close. And so I was her baby. So she took care of me and took
Uh,
me honestly to all my appointments and just wanted me to be me and be happy. It's all
uh,
she ever wanted.
yeah.
And she did just an amazing job. And then so when she passed away, it was really hard. I mean, she was my best friend, and I was her best friend, and it was unexpected. And so, after she died, I was grieving. I had profound grief. To make a long story short, I ended up, my friend recommended grief counseling because she saw my pain. I went to a grief share at a local Christian church, and that really started my journey to spirituality in general. And I realized that I had a belief that my voice didn't matter and that I wasn't worthy of being heard. That was hard for me to realize. And I started to realize how much I had been holding myself back. And even today, little things make me realize, how much I limited my own potential. And, I show a lot of compassion toward my little inner child. But
Yeah.
it's really eye-opening. And over time, I started reframing that belief. And what's interesting was I went to a psychic, and she told me that she saw me writing a book and speaking on stage. And I had been told before, but I go to psychics occasionally, and I had been told before that they saw me writing a book, so that wasn't a total surprise. But speaking on stage caught me off guard, and I thought, why would I ever be speaking on stage? I can't even talk. I remembered as a child, I would have these visions of me speaking on stage. I completely forgot about that. And I had the same thought at the time, like, why would I ever speak on stage? I can't talk. And what's funny was, a few days before the psychic reading, I signed up for Toastmasters. And if you're not familiar with Toastmasters, it's an organization that helps you enhance your public speaking skills. I signed up just because a random thought popped into my mind that it would be a good idea for me to practice my public speaking skills. Now, I had no intention of becoming a speaker, I just thought, oh, check it out. I had a former manager mention it to me 20 years before, and I thought, okay, well, maybe I'll check it out. And I joined, and once I started giving speeches, I realized how much I loved talking. And I asked myself, like, why do I love this so much? And it occurred to me, I felt heard for the first time. That was really profound. It opened my eyes to a new way of thinking, really a new way of being. I had always thought that I'm just going to keep to myself and keep quiet because nobody can hear or understand me anyway. But that fed into my belief that my voice didn't matter. And, I'm sure you've heard this before, how beliefs work. Beliefs work by what you believe you think, what you think you feel, what you feel you do, and what you do produces results that reinforce your belief. So when I was, had those thoughts that I'm just not going to talk because nobody can hear or understand me anyway, it was reinforcing my belief. I thought there was no point in talking. That led me to feel unheard and discouraged, which led to reinforcing my belief that my voice didn't matter. I just started challenging that belief. Is it really true that nobody can hear or understand me? Isn't it possible that some people can? And so Toastmasters really helped me with that because I thought, oh, when I give talks, I have a microphone so people can hear me more. And I have their full undivided attention. It's not like in a restaurant or in some kind of social setting where other people are talking. The chances of them hearing me are much higher. And then I had to learn to talk slower so people can understand me. It gave me another method or a way that I can speak and be heard. That led me to realize that maybe I can become a speaker. Maybe I can help other people overcome their limiting beliefs. Like, no matter what you think is wrong with you, it doesn't have to hold you back. There's a way forward. And it's really how you frame it. For me, having a different way of, how can I do what I want to do despite my challenge so I can use the microphone?
That is empowering you. That you made that transition seem easy, but I know that is a busting healing journey. That there are moments you want to give up, and then Spirit taps in and tells you to keep going.
So you're right, absolutely. I certainly don't intend to come across as if this is an easy process, because it wasn't. But it was very profound. And I do have my moments, even today, where I'm fearful of what people are going to think of me, or where I get frustrated. Like, why can't I talk clearly? Why can't I talk loud enough? I just want to go to a restaurant and talk like a normal person and be able to be heard. And so I do have those moments. So it's not like it was a light switch and, oh, I'm all fine now.
I am there with you. In our heads, we are speaking clearly. We are enunciating at the right volume. I mean, we are like on it, and then we open our mouths, and it's like, what the hell? But here's the key for it is embodying a version of ourselves that has the clear voice. It doesn't have any of the trauma or physical constraint. It's just us in our power.
Yeah, it's interesting that you bring up stepping into your power, because that's actually what my book is about. And I So a little background about my intuitive abilities. Growing up, I remember having a few, I want to say, paranormal experiences and like visions. I mean, it wasn't much. And then when December 2022, and I got laid off my job, I was miserable in a corporate job. I hated it, did not want it anymore. And after a brief moment, like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? I realized this is a blessing in disguise. I started digging into my personal growth and spiritual practices even more because I had more time. That I had been doing Reiki for a little while as well. And so not long after I was laid off from my job, I really started becoming psychic. In fact, my grandma, my deceased grandma, is now one of my life guides. And she came to me one night and said, you're going to be super intuitive, but we got to get you dreaming. Like, okay. And so I started becoming more intuitive. I receive messages a lot when I'm sleeping and early in the morning when most of us are open that way. I get messages through not only my dreams, but I get visions. I hear people talking to me. I just sense and know things. And it's been incredible. But not long after I lost my job, I was guided to write and to speak. I knew I was supposed to write a book. I didn't know what to write about. And then I just felt like I needed to write some kind of self-help book. So I started writing this book, and 2 or 3 weeks later, I had this vision come to mind, and I heard someone say, get changed, how to become the master of your own life. And I knew that was supposed to be the topic and title of my book. I thought, oh my gosh, I'm unemployed. I don't know what I want to be when I grow up. And you want me to write a book on mastering life? That you have the wrong person.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then at some point I realized that this book was not just for readers. It was just as much for me as it was for the readers. I started writing this book, and I kid you not, it's a small little book. It has 7 chapters, and I got to the last chapter, and I realized I just write. I kind of just write, and I had an epiphany. Like, this entire book was about learning how to step into your power. And that was the title of the last chapter. I knew that was the last chapter. That's what the entire book is about. That was what I was supposed to learn. I need to learn how to step into my power. It was really an epiphany, and it's funny that I learned at the very end. But it was a really amazing experience, and I'm so glad I wrote the book, and it's been helpful. The intuitive abilities help me in my everyday life, in business, and coaching. It really helps me guide conversations. I am really intuitive, so I can kind of feel and sense and know where the direction of the conversation should go. So it helps me ask the right questions, and it's really helpful.
It is like my book writing journey was similar. Really is a full-on cathartic experience.
It absolutely is. Yeah, I say, sometimes I journal, and even just journaling for 5 or 10 minutes can be such a release and a great experience.
Yeah. Tell me now how your intuition, again, but in more detail, helps your clients and you. Give examples.
So I often receive messages for myself and just guiding me down my path. I get a lot of messages from my guides and from angels. They guide me to where to go. I document a lot of what I hear and receive.
Can you share some examples of message you're meditating on something and tell us what you get.
Yeah, a lot of things I get when I'm resting, sleeping, or in meditation. And so I have to remember. The problem is I have a hard time remembering what's said.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
so I write down some. So like some of them I've had. You're about to encounter blessings in your life, or wherever you are. Visualization is what you need to do. Visualization is a powerful tool. Encouragement, this is time. It's up to you. Trying to encourage me to go after my dreams. I have a dream of becoming a speaker and a highly sought after author, coach, and have all these big dreams. And they're like, well, then make it happen. Oh, they told me new abundance was blocking you. So I have these energetic blocks to abundance that I've been working through, where I
yeah,
can bring that into my life.
yeah.
One time I heard, breathe in, breathe out, all the way into your throat. And I think a lot of us take shallow breaths. And so it was a reminder, like, just breathe all the way in, feel it in your throat, take that deep breath, and it's going to help calm you. And like other, just encouragement. Now we just need to get you from where you are to where you're going, or what seems like a disappointment is actually a blessing in disguise. Don't let the fears of failing keep you from taking that first step. So it's a lot of encouragement and guidance. I see a lot of images. I'm very clairvoyant, and clairvoyance and clairaudience, I would say, are the top two clairs that I have. I see a lot of images. Oftentimes, I'll see me with a microphone in front of me, like just talking to the microphone. I hear sometimes, just talk, and so really it's just more encouragement every day. I mean, I receive messages every single day. It's been a powerful force in my life. I connect with angels and guides, not only psychically, but through angel numbers, through oracle cards, and it has literally changed my life. Because everything is so uplifting and comes from love and wanting the best for me. We all have free will, but they want to encourage me to live my best life. And so it's always uplifting and motivating and inspiring and empowering. So it really, really keeps me going, especially in times when I'm starting to feel like I'm, running, I'm a hamster on a hamster wheel.
Yeah,
And it really keeps me going and positive, keeps my spirits high.
I get that and am with you 100%. In closing, share more things for people listening to this, how they can overcome their self-limiting thoughts or even the environmental or societal limiting beliefs. Tell us again the name of your book and how to buy it.
Well, I would say, first off, I think learning to understand your worth is a good start to overcoming your limiting beliefs. There's ways that you can work on feeling and believing that you're worthy. And, like I said earlier, think about different ways that you can do what you want to do despite your challenge. And think about, how can I shift from seeing my flaws to seeing my potential? And then everything's always a lesson. What can I learn from this? What is my voice teaching me in this lifetime, right now? Those kind of help you shift your perspective. As far as judgments, I've learned that when people judge you or make fun of you or give you a hard time, more often than not, it has nothing to do with you. It has everything to do with them. When you point your finger, you have three fingers pointed back at you, right? And it's their insecurities or something about you that brings out their insecurities that they need to work on. Don't take it personally. It's not. It really isn't personal. The main things, working on self-worth, self-love, of course. And then my book, I have a website. It's my name, TraceyNapier.com. And you can find my book there. You can find information about my coaching packages, breaking into the speaking arena. And there is information about my talk in there as well. And if you have any questions, obviously just feel free to reach out through my website, social media, or however you want to contact me. I'm happy to chat with you.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Transcending Trauma, the Spiritual Odyssey. If you're working to overcome trauma and would like to work with me or be a guest on my show, contact me through my website at shariroberts.org. Please hit the follow button to make sure you don't miss any episodes. I'd love to connect with you on LinkedIn at Shari Roberts. You can find all the links in the show notes. I'd love to hear from you. I'm Shari Roberts, your host, reminding you that you're never alone. Until next time, sending you love and light. Before you go, are you writing a book? My friend Randy gets people book deals with publishers. She's great. You can reach her at author1stop.com.